we go. Hello, 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 everybody. Hey, yo. Hello, everybody. Mark, hello.
Hi.
And with that, hey guys, how's it going? My name is Justin,
Mark.
and you're watching or listening to episode 455 DangIT Prodcast. Welcome back, everybody. We were talking about how did we even get to that conversation off camera? We were talking about childhood drinks. Oh yeah, I think it stemmed all the way to Starry, right?
Yeah, 'cause I said I tried Starry and I was like, yeah, this is
This is
better
actually
than
pretty good.
this is better than Sierra Mist, bro.
Yeah, and then you asked about Mountain Dew, and
Yeah, it's like, what
then
does Baja Blast taste like?
yeah, and then you brought up an alcoholic drink for Mountain Dew as far in amongst its variants, and I was like, oh, there was one that was of a childhood drink that I saw recently, and it was Sunny D. And then that was talking about the whole lunch thing about you can afford Sunny D. I didn't have that access in middle school or high school, whatever. And then we were talking about pizza, the high school
I,
pizza specifically.
I, if you were only time I ever saw people get the pizza in high school pizza was like you agreed and you said you saw it too, which was the pizza boats, like the flatbread stuff,
Yes, yeah,
and that, but like no one ever got the usual
like an
pizza, and
actual
I know why.
circular pizza.
Yeah, because if you get it, because the one time I got it, and it was so damn greasy. Literally everything on top just slid right off onto my tray.
I think I may have buried that memory because I think I remember having something similar to that happen. It was still within the wrap, but it was obviously the topping just kind of slid at the bottom of the bag. I was like,
Nah, bro,
oh,
this like
oh.
literally everything slid off of it.
I was like, bruh.
Like I just saw naked pizza with some sauce on it at that point.
Did you have school lunch pizza that was actually a legitimate slice?
Yeah,
Okay. I remember having that for the first time in middle school. I thought that was the greatest thing. And then after that experience, it was never the same. Like,
yeah,
it was weird.
because it's some slice when it all just comes right off the slice.
Yeah, no, with those whole pizzas, yeah. But the actual pizza slices themselves actually didn't ever have that problem. I just remember it just tasting really good the very first time I had it. I guess kind of the same thing with wild berry drinks in the milk cartons. That was good the first time I tried it, and then once it got mass produced and I got that in high school a lot, it was not the same.
It just wasn't the same.
It was never the same. But you know what stays consistent? That milk and chocolate milk.
They really didn't make us drink milk and chocolate milk with like everything.
That was interesting. It was very interesting.
I did that for a while until I was like, oh hey, look, I don't have to anymore. I can literally just drink this Sunny D.
Man, and that's the thing. I never got access to Sunny D. It
Dude,
was
I'd get that or I'd get like Powerade.
yeah. I guess there was Powerade as well. Oh wait, maybe it was at the vending machines. Yeah, that might have been
Also,
it.
also just water.
Oh yeah, that's also an option, guys. Water.
I need milk good for your bones.
Yeah, it's good for. I know Gabe was always in. I'm pretty sure. I don't really know the record, but I'm pretty sure he always had milk every lunch hour if he could.
And he still got knee problems.
Well, that could have been attributed to whatever sports he was a part of. He's been through a lot. He's been in the football,
I think they said
wrestling, track
before
and
now that
field.
I think they said before now that milk, while milk can be good for you, it's not nearly as good for your bones as you thought it was. It's kind of exaggerated.
Man, that was their whole slogan. The calcium. It's like
I still remember,
electrolytes.
did you have those posters in your lunchroom with the got milk?
I remember the ads, but I'm not sure if it was ever plastered on one of the
Oh,
walls.
we had them plastered, bro. Just got milk.
God, milk.
And you know for a fact we're middle school kids. You already know we're saying titties.
Well, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that was definitely the case. Yeah, honestly, I think health class in high school afterwards wasn't really anything. It's oh, we already know the circuit.
Oh, bro, that wouldn't stop some people. Some people still do this shit. In high school, you can be like, oh, totally just crack stupid joke out titties.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was always that case, but it's as far as the actual lecture itself and what we knew and what we didn't know, we knew, we
Oh,
knew.
you mean like actually in the class? Oh, yeah, like in the health class. Like, well, I think the one time health class was actually like super educational was probably like when we had it in fifth grade.
Hmm.
We had it in fifth grade, and that was that was educational, I guess. Because of course, first thing they taught us about in 8th grade wasn't even really like anything about sex, and more it was about like HIV and AIDS.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. That does happen. They do
It's
teach
like so
that.
they didn't teach us about all the other stuff until around like middle school.
Hmm. Yeah. To be fair, if we, like when we look back on it, they don't really teach you a lot about other specific things. It was really just the general like educational like requirements, and that was it. I felt like we just went through the circuit, and you know, as far as like actual practical things, a lot of people will talk about it nowadays, but like a lot of the practical things that we need in real life is never really covered. It's just general education for you to pass like certain exams or get you some sort of interest like in some field. So
In health class, I never felt any of that. They were just giving us the heads up on, hey, you probably don't want to do this or that, or if you're gonna do this, at least do it this way so you're safe.
man, I'm trying to remember what I like really like learned that I didn't know in health class. I just remember the time where like,
The innocent Justin knew these things.
well, yeah, of course. But it was never like something where it's like, oh, I never knew about this. I was like, no, everyone like I literally hear it like word of mouth.
That's that's so odd for me to hear from you because I'm like,
I
honestly,
the
with how
sunshine child.
with like how you've always described your childhood to me, I'm always like, that's more surprising that you did know rather than that you.
It's
I would have thought you wouldn't have at least known all of it.
I'm pretty sure I did. Well, actually, maybe I should go back in time and ask myself, and I'll go back to you.
Go back in time and ask myself, maybe I'm just inserting present me into that time.
Maybe, yeah, maybe I'm just projecting myself in little me.
Little you was like, oh,
If I can go back, I would definitely change so many things. But it happened for a reason, so it is what it is.
I was gonna say, would you though? Because of everything you're who you are now.
You know, maybe maybe it was better off that way because maybe like younger me was much more tolerant towards things, people. I feel like maybe if I went back in time, I'd be like, these kids are so dumb.
He said I was too. He said I was too nice.
if I if I got if I got reincarnated as my younger self,
He would be fucking up so much shit.
even especially knowing like how like reincarnation like animes go, I'd probably be like, man, this is it wasn't what it was cracked up to be.
First things first, going to the gym.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm the first thing I'll probably realize is like, wow, my metabolism is like really high. And then
I mean, it's been on him for a good few hours. I should have changed. I was gonna change it soon.
He's talking it over there.
Yeah, just talking to my dad.
Gotcha. So, let me see. Well, we could definitely go on the tangent, but I did want to talk a little bit like some like bullet points here. A lot of stuff happened this past week, all video games related. Like we could talk about, well, we could talk personally about like how Tanuki's going. We could talk about Redfall. We could talk about more recently and what's kind of the big thing, which is like Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, and then Survivor. Yeah, I am Survivor. Yes, we could talk about that too. I guess real quick before we jump into all like the big major topics, I just wanted to bring this up because obviously Tanuki is like part of the brand for me as well.
I was gonna ask because like when are I haven't seen the streams start for Tanuki just yet.
Good question about that. Like I don't really know myself as far as like when we're gonna start integrating that. I think for now, because of how our schedule is, individually, we're just kind of focusing on making like our own videos. I had ideas for like streams and whatnot, but I'm not sure like when we can actually like implement that. So this past week, I was just making my video about like the eShop's like top games to like get while like there's a sale going on. And the only reason I wanted to like reflect on that was, well, just generally for applying reflections, and two, that video wasn't doing well at all. Like I don't think it like reached. I don't think it reached anybody. I was like, hello.
Did it not?
I don't think so. I was like, what is happening?
they said, "Who's this guy trying to be the now before you buy?"
I had ideas like that, but I think that's better handled like by those guys. They just know how to make it work. There's just like a few number of views, just like singular views, like 4 views on that like recent video. And I was like, what happened? I was like, what? Especially when I popped off with like the Logitech Cloud G Cloud video, the follow
Your
up
Steam Deck video's got some good views.
I was like, I'm actually surprised by that. That could be part of the like beginning algorithm as like one of the first videos on the channel. And but you know what? The ROG Ally video is actually catching up. It's got like over 800 views. I was like, nice. Nice. I even like perfected that thumbnail too. And then I don't know, maybe I should just like sit and wait with that eShop deals thing. But the deals over there are gonna end in like 2 days. So maybe it's time for follow-up, or maybe I should just change tactics and figure something else out. We'll see about that. But I just want to report that I was like, what the? Why is it not? What happened? Guys, I'm telling you, guys, I gotta act now. I gotta see that video. You gotta redeem this game or that game. But that's okay. It's still a work in progress. So on my end, it's like, okay, what kind of videos do I want to make? Okay, I want to make these videos. Like, will this work? Will that work? And I'm just kind of like testing out the gauntlet here. But as far as going back to the whole streaming bits here, this is a really good question. Honestly, I think Phil was making a joke about it like literally last night when we were playing Pokemon Stadium 1. He was saying that like Anaya's in the chat and not with us for some reason. Anaya, this could have been our first like Tanuki video together, first stream together. Now look what happened.
No, look at us. Look at us.
Look at us. Who'd have thought? Not me.
I just remembered something I was talking with my wife about last night that I'll have to bring up here because it is something that it's certainly something that we could talk about, but I'll bring that up later.
Okay, for sure. Just let me know.
Unless you want to talk about it now, because honestly, I would be curious to see. Because I mean, I think it's fucking stupid, but I definitely think you might agree with me on this.
Oh my god. I mean, does it fit anywhere as far as like our topical discussions?
It would fit in with things to do in the anime and manga industry.
Okay, well, we could talk about that now.
Taking place in the United States.
Oh, okay. That might be a general. I thought it was like here's a suggestion for like the DangIT videos or even Tanuki. But
yeah, this is just legitimately like something that just happened.
Oh, it just happened. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, is anyone here familiar with the series called Assassination Classroom?
Oh, I just saw. Yeah, well, yes.
You see it? You seen it?
I did see it, and I was like, interesting.
Yeah, so apparently some schools in Florida and Wisconsin have taken it upon themselves to ban Assassination Classroom from their school libraries.
So wait, are we talking about like both like the anime and the manga? Oh, okay, that's why. I was like, how do you ban unless it's, the book? Okay.
They're banning the book, and they say, and it was this is how I know they didn't read it. This is how I know for a fact they read a synopsis and didn't read it.
Huh.
Because they say we don't want our kids thinking it's okay to kill their teachers.
Oh.
I was like, you guys are idiots.
That's so off the mark here.
I was like, it's literally about a teacher
from outer space.
Like the teacher, he's not even really from outer space.
Oh, no, he was experimentation, and he got this whole new form. He needs. And he's also it's complicated.
The best teacher. He's the best teacher ever, and these kids at the end of the day end up loving him.
Mm.
And it's like at the end they don't even really want to kill him.
Yeah, it's actually more
he
wholesome.
Ends up being like the greatest teacher. It's so wholesome. It's so funny. Like it's like honestly, Assassination Classroom is such a great series in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's definitely one of the series I want to collect.
Yeah, I mean,
the box set for and everything. Like it's honestly, I'd recommend it to a lot of people.
Yeah, that is very it's very interesting. I like from a surface level, I understand, but also like you don't know the context.
To
Schools.
me, it's well, like to me, what pissed me off about that to me was
Mm,
just the fact of I know if they because of what they said, that's how I know they didn't read it.
mm-hmm.
That's how I know all you did was look at a synopsis. Because if you had actually read that book to see if it could be in the school, like if you actually read it, like the entire series from start to finish, they would not be saying that.
Oh, but Boy Toy gets a pass, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Seriously, some of the books we've had in our middle school was it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess the book I'm thinking of like can get a pass, but another book that like my friend was reading, Boy Toy was not like what the man, dude.
Boy toy. Boy
Yeah,
toy.
yeah, is Boy Toy. It's I
Well,
wish I, I
the only other time this has really happened with a manga in America was back in the early 2000s to 2010s with
hmm.
I'm sure you can guess.
What was the time frame?
It's like early 2000s to around maybe 2010. What manga do you think parents would see and they'd be like, "Oh, this is trouble."
Ooh, manga, not specifically shonen.
Oh, it's shonen.
Oh, it's not. Oh my god. I'm thinking.
It's a classic. It's a
It's
classic in the sense of many people say like, "Oh, you should definitely check this out." It starts and it's not Dragon Ball, but it starts with a D.
oh man. Shoot, I don't have it. I don't have it in mind. What was
It
it?
involves a book.
Is it Demon Slayer? No, because
That would not fit at all.
that would not. Yeah.
It involves a book. His character carries around a book.
Oh wait. Okay.
Death Note.
Death Note. Okay. Sorry. At that point, I've just totally forgot the name.
Death Note was also a very controversial one that they tried to get banned.
I can kind of see that,
It's
but
also,
I
but it's
mean,
also because kids who were bullied in school who were fans of Death Note had a Death Note book, and
mm,
they would write their bullies' names in it.
that's fair.
Which and people are like, I'm just like, they're probably just venting their frustrations about their bullies. They're not actually gonna hurt them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, what's happening? How you guys helping out with that? Banning their books?
It's also if you anyone who reads Death Note knows Light is not a good person.
Yeah, he's actually not.
It's like he starts out as a good guy, and then the power gets to his head, and he grows a god complex.
Hmm.
And then the entire story is just about he's trying not to get caught.
Yeah.
It's like some people root for him, other people root against him in this story.
Hmm.
It's just where I'm like, I think it's because it's different. Like when you're a fan of the material, or like when you're like in that space, like we are. So like when you see people doing these bands, it really and I've even had that with other things like before. Like when I've seen people say like, "Oh, you should ban this or that," I'm just like, how much do you know about this topic, and how much have you actually like? Are you familiar at all with this? And if they say no, I only briefly glimpsed, I was like, well, go back and if it's a book,
Rewind.
no,
Check it out.
if it's a book, like genuinely, I think if it's if they want to ban the manga, I want them to get like just read them all, read all the books.
Hmm.
I want you to read all those books, and if by the end of it your opinion is still the same, then you can go vote to ban it.
It also has to probably be a collective thing too, right? Where it's like you might literally have to pull like a bunch of like staff out here just to like get a just to get an idea of like what it is, and that's going to include a lot of folks who haven't even checked out the materials, so they'll be like, is it a big problem? And someone says yeah, and then they'll be like, oh well,
I
I guess
guarantee you, it wasn't one of the kids that complained. It was just probably their parents just saw them reading it and said,
maybe that too. Yeah.
no way it was one of the kids that complained.
Well, I mean, like, it could be one of those things where like the parents got involved. I could see that. I was just thinking it from like an official like standpoint from one of the staff, being like, or like the librarian like looks at it and they're like, yeah, I'm not sure, stuff like that, and they have to probably go through some whole process of like upon reviewing it, and it has to get reviewed by some other person completely like off hands on the whole content material itself. So it's even further back. So it just goes through a whole chain process of people who are not familiar at all. I can only imagine.
Yeah, and it's to me when I heard their reasoning, and as someone who has, like, you know, I've seen every episode of the anime. I haven't read the book manga, but I've watched the entire anime, which covered the entire series for Assassination Classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that they would even say that, it's such a surface level like observation, that I can't look at it and like think anything except, like, you know, you're not even like serious right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this. It feels like you're just like, would like Boomer work with that? Would Boomer work? I feel like Boomer would fit very much there.
But I guess like within the context of that, it's like, but it's still one of those things where like you just needed to read a little bit more about that. But I guess there's also maybe some kind of mindset too that can also contribute. So there's also that.
Like, let me just take a quick look. Assassination Classroom.
Assassino.
I know they tried to get that done here in Virginia too. They tried to
oh really?
In some of our schools.
That's
and it failed.
Nice.
That's where I was like, good.
Good. People can get educated with some actual sauce.
Like, if I had known that was going on, I would have like legitimately, I would have like just said
you would have went to the board yourself of Virginia and be like, hey.
I would have said, all right, board members, if you want to do this and actually not look absolutely ridiculous, I want you to take these volumes and read.
I'm starting a book club.
And if you guys keep that same opinion,
all right,
you guys keep the same opinion, then you can proceed with the book. But you have to keep that same opinion. You can't be like, well, maybe I was right. If you even for the second say, well, maybe I was wrong, and I'd be like,
I don't think so.
Well, I'm just glad that in my state they didn't do that, because at least I know people in my state are actually, you know, thinking
about it. They know.
Like, they actually, like, and they have people in schools that will, like, I think they have people in schools that will like, you know, scan the series and make sure it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, yeah, Assassination Classroom, it's perfectly acceptable for middle school and high school level.
Sure.
Like, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you actually like take the time to read it, like you'll understand it. So it's just one of those things where, like, you know, possibly one opinion.
The length of the series in total. The length of the series in total is 4,152 pages, but I'm trying to zero that as in chapters.
But I guess at the same time, you don't have to read like everything. Like, literally, I'm pretty sure like the first couple chapters, you already get the premise at that point.
Yes, but I could argue that against that. I could argue that you might even still get a surface level thing there because of just how drastically different the beginning and the end is Assassination Classroom.
I guess so. I think
because, like I said, the whole vibe that class has towards Koro Sensei is completely different at the end than it was at the beginning.
But it does develop even like within like the early chapters too, where it's like obviously he's just like this unkillable like test subject, but he's also a teacher, so like obviously there's a curiosity to that, like, why is he a teacher who's also like Earth's biggest threat right now, and you're having a bunch of high schoolers like have to take him out. But he's also volunteering to educate. Like, it's so interesting. So why not read a little bit more into it? It's like, wait, why? What's happening?
He wanted to teach a class.
He wanted to teach a class. And I mean, like, when you find out like he's actually a really good teacher, and you
Like,
realize there's a lot of
arguably, I would
comedy
say that
ensuing, like, I don't know.
if any teachers voted, that's what I'm saying. If any teachers voted for this
They,
and they had read the series, then I would absolutely just say. So what I'm hearing is you're jealous that Koro Sensei is legitimately a better teacher than any single one of you.
I mean, that's just a fact.
Like, Koro Sensei is the ideal teacher in my opinion.
Mm.
Because like literally everything he does anything for those kids, and he genuinely helps them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always just say, like if there was any person that a teacher should strive to be like from an anime, it is Koro Sensei.
But yeah, I guess there's not really much else to say other than the fact that, like, you know, this is something where you just needed to like read it, and you would actually understand that it's totally okay.
Oh yeah, because it's always just why would you not just read this?
I don't know. We can talk about it like all day. We probably wouldn't get like a really good answer that we'd like.
But other than that, if we don't want to do a quick segue into something that's similar, just to keep consistency.
Sure. I was trying to figure that out.
A lot of new stuff has come out. Like Mashal, Magic and Muscles has come out.
Yes.
Very much enjoy it. They're doing a very good job.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have that. Of course, there's Hell's Paradise going on right now.
Yes, I see.
Also been very good. I still need to check out Dr. Stone season 3.
I think there's only one episode out, so you should be all right.
Is it one? I thought it was 2. Let me see.
Yeah, it could have been updated. I think it came out well, maybe. No, I feel like there would be more episodes.
There's 2 episodes.
Oh, okay. I was doing a lot of testing beforehand, so like the website wouldn't update like the next episode because I kept testing out one particular episode within the series.
Of course, there's season 3 of Slayer.
Oh yes, that's a relatively newer one.
And that was good. I'm assuming you saw those in theaters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that's episode 1, and I saw all of that. So
yeah, the hour-long episode 1 and 2.
Actually, I guess it was episode 1 and 2. Yeah. I just
Manny Inosuke was just on the ceiling the entire time.
That was funny. Oh. I guess I'm just imagining Inosuke on the ceiling. Everyone pans up.
He's like, nah. And of course they've also started Eden Zero season 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's still on Netflix, right?
I'm seeing it on Crunchyroll.
Oh, sweet. All right.
Yeah, I can see it's on Crunchyroll. I don't think they have season 1, but they have season 2.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
And what else?
There's a big one from the same author as Kaguya-sama, Love is War. It's called Ocean. How do you pronounce that one? Hold on. I just saw.
I think I know the one you're talking about because my friends were talking about it.
Yeah, Oshinoko.
It's like the.
That's what it's called.
Oshinoko.
It's about an idol who
takes so fucking sad.
It's so sad. I haven't seen the full episode. Just like people obviously are talking about this at like pure length. It's about this idol girl who gets pregnant at 16, has to hide that away. Eventually she has the kids, but not after having some like conversations with some significant characters online, which both have died and get reincarnated as like the kids. Which is weird time frame on that one. Let me tell you.
So fucking sad.
But yeah, no. That's pretty much like the surface level, but it's kind of like it's a get back story from what we're seeing. But revenge. the main thing you want to get out of it is that it drops like a dope ass music video.
Oh, it's got great visuals. It's gonna punch you straight in your heart.
That's true. But guys, listen to watch and listen to that music video. It's just like, whoa, they going in.
There was that, and trying to think.
Skirt.
There's also I haven't looked at it. I still need to watch the first season, but there is the new season of Ranking of Kings.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right. That is out. Nice.
Yeah, the Treasure Chest of Courage.
Best Boy has returned.
There's also Rokudo's Bad Girls.
I don't recognize that one.
I read a little bit of the manga. I think that's all I can think of for right now.
Yeah, it's as far as the anime sees, it's pretty jam packed.
It's very, very packed right now.
Mm-hmm. Mixture of new stuff and some like returning favorites for sure.
Oh yeah, in terms of manga, Shonen Jump's got a couple new ones coming out. We just had the new one from the Food Wars mangaka.
Oh yes, it's the one with like the kind of the stage play / like movie director situation.
I found it interesting.
Okay.
I think they've got that. There's going to be that one, a boxing one, and then 2 others. I'm trying to remember what the concepts were. But I do know that, in order for those to get in, some things had to go.
No.
Like Ginga de Gluna, I was hopeful for that one. It has ended at chapter 29.
Ooh, okay.
And I know PPPPPP that
PPPPP. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, it's the one that's got like 7 P's in it.
Oh, okay.
It was a musical one, and it was like a music type of show, and that was that got farther than I thought it would. I know Ichigoki's Under Control, that finished. Is that all that I could say? All that there was that's finished. Tokyo Bride, that's finished. So yeah, they cleared up enough spots.
Damn. It's a harsh world with that Shonen Jump.
Yeah, they've been a lot pickier. It's like with what they deem worthy to be in the magazine, so they've really gotten very picky. Like, what's because I think Fabricant 100 is gonna stay in. Cypher Academy is still going strong. I don't know if it will stay. I haven't caught up on Cypher Academy because I wasn't sure if it was gonna be able to stay in or not. It might. Yeah, I might be surprised. And Ichinose Family's Deadly Sins is still going strong.
Okay.
Kaiju number 8 still going very strong.
Let's go.
Like Kaiju number 8's at chapter 84 right now.
It's very impressive now that it's keeping a consistent pace.
Yeah, its anime is already planned out.
That's good.
Fabricant 100's it's been showing a lot of promise that I think it's probably going to stick around for a bit. I would say if Beat in Motion came out, that's been good. And then, of course, there's the Dark Horse that came out of nowhere that is now in Shonen Jump, and it's been a very popular series, which is Gokura Kugai, which is, honestly, it's a quality series. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes.
But
Ruri Dragon still is nowhere to be seen, and it still remains one of the most popular shows or mangas in Shonen Jump, despite only having 6 chapters. It's truly an anomaly.
There's some very weird ones.
Like Ruri Dragon was good, but only 6 chapters on hiatus right now, and it's still banging right now. And I'm just like, how do you do this?
How's that even possible?
People are just hyped. They just really like Ruri Dragon. And of course, I am definitely want you to see tomorrow's chapter for My Hero. That's
yes, okay. I was gonna say, I think we talked about it earlier this week. I was making the joke about it, and I still haven't been spoiled, so good. We're good here.
Gotcha.
I remember like it got close, but it's one of those things where like thankfully the poster like give you like a big disclaimer, like my hero, like spoilers, and I just swiped up. So I was like, okay, don't have to worry,
No.
don't have to check it out. Don't need to see that.
Oh, that's right. And a quick side note before we move on, I forgot today. I think today is the Creator Clash day.
Oh yes, yes. I've been starting to hear that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's tonight. There are going to be the fights tonight.
Whoa. Okay. Okay.
So that's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Mm-hmm. Did they do anything about that whole banning of that one dude?
Oh, Froggy?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Froggy's still not fighting.
Damn.
Which is, that sucks.
Yeah. I don't 100% know the full story. Just little bits and pieces about it. But it's always it's always a family thing.
With that, but that will be tonight, so that should be something to say. And Oshinoko is actually trending on Twitter right now.
Oh yeah. You know, there was another scene in that one where it's like it's one of her like concert showings, and you just see a bunch of dudes out there waving their light sticks, their glow sticks. But you know what? I get it. I get it now. I'm really curious as to how that series will go off. Especially since they seem to really promote like her as the character. But obviously things happen, so it's focusing on her kids. It's interesting though. They kind of play it as if like they paint it as her kind of being like a shadow in the background, not really manifesting like in the way that you think as a haunted like figure, but just kind of like the spirit of her is there.
Mm-hmm. I know I have a lot of friends that are really enjoying the series. Also, I guess what we could do, June. I guess we could move into games because that's a majority of.
Gotcha. Well, I did want to start off. Obviously, the big thing is Zelda and Final Fantasy, but I'm literally dragging this on because there's just all these different things I want to cover too. Thoughts about Redfall? There was the announcement about Redfall having his resolutions like out there, but one of them wasn't like a 1080 60 frames like option.
Yeah, it's a 30 frames option.
Only 30 frames. And you know that's. I mean, how old is the Xbox Series now? Is it like since 2021? Late 2021?
Let me check. Series X release date. November 10th, 2020.
Oh my god.
So it is going on, it's already 2.5 years old now.
Mm-hmm. It's going on 3. So yeah, that's like it's no surprise because it's kind of what happens like as games get developed is that you end up kind of going beyond like the hardware itself. Both Xbox and PlayStation were eventually to come to terms with that. It was just so soon, or at least it feels like it's so soon.
Yeah, it feels like it just released like not even a year ago.
Yeah, but I guess having said that though, there is going to be a 60 frames option, just not yet. It's going to get patched later on after release date, which is still kind of unfortunate, but at the very least, there will be 60 frames somewhere.
It didn't bother me enough to make me have any kind of negative feelings.
Sure.
Towards the creators of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, can I still play it? Does it still run fine? Okay.
Yeah, like if it keeps a steady like frame rate regardless, then I think I'd be okay with the two. But
like, does it function? Okay.
Okay.
Like, can I play it and it won't crash? Can I play it and it'll at least be fun?
Yeah, is it the next Cyberpunk?
Like, but if you're gonna tell me that, you can't play it because it's not 60 frames, I'd be like, I mean, you like here. Don't get me wrong. I get why 60 frames is amazing. I get it, and it makes sense. However, you do not need 60 frames to play a game.
True. I agree with that.
It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice, and it helps in competitive shooters.
Yeah, just general like FPS games.
But let's say if we're in I mean, Redfall is going to be a PvE shooter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if I was gonna say anything on that, I'd say, well, we can at least make do with a 30 frames per second on a game that's at least a PvE shooter and not a PvP shooter. A PvP
Mm,
shooter, that'd be a different story,
yeah.
because those frames could honestly make a huge difference against other players. Whereas in a PvE setting, it's not nearly. I don't think it's nearly as important.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, but I understand people's like grievances because it's supposed to be like, I mean, every single like console is going to say, or I guess platforms could be like, oh, this is going to be our most powerful console yet. And this part, like on this part, it's not really like the fault on like Xbox's side. It was kind of like something happened in development, something that just couldn't let them actually like do 60 frames yet. There was an issue they came across, so eventually they had to like make the announcement, and all promotion that showed 60 frames was kind of like erased.
Meh. And I saw people using that. I saw people also using that as Xbox's most powerful console. And I'm just like, guys, just relax.
It's so interesting to see. There's like, I guess there's truly like console purists as far as like
Oh,
their
the console wars have cooled down, but they are by no means over.
yeah, they're just cinders right now, embers, and but they're still
The
there.
embers of war.
Yeah, like it's so weird. Like some of them are like obviously jokes, but some of them are like not, and you're kind of like concerned about that individual. But yeah, you should see it online where it's like, oh, the PlayStation superior, like, oh no, Xbox is better, and people are like, oh, Nintendo just sucks. I get it. I get all arguments, kinda, but
I mean, Nintendo doesn't suck. Nintendo just got to work on the way they do things.
I mean, I think that there's kind of the side point. Like, I think there's some problems with like Nintendo as far as like some specific choices, but there might be a lot of moving parts that are not completely all within one company, but other ones they are affiliated to. But going back to the case of Xbox, this one's like that's just between like the developers and how they can utilize like Xbox hardware. So I guess it was just one of those things where like they couldn't get out like a 60 frames patch like in time, so I just have to wait until afterwards. I'm not sure if it would be worth the delay, as some people are like arguing for. Um, at that point, it's like it's playable. So, but I get the 6 frames, so it's kind of tough for me to say. So that's just kind of my stance. I just felt like we should talk about it because obviously, like another game as well that we'll be talking about in a little bit is something that's going to be subjected to like, well, it's not really going to be 60 frames, but it's like for this like high price rate or price, right? So it's kind of the same thing as Redfall too. So well,
Yeah, and now people with Redfall, people are worrying about Starfield.
you know what? That's a valid concern. It's a different like. Well, I guess it is Bethesda, so
But I mean, with that, I would just say, if you think for a second that they are going to let Starfield roll out the gate and not be at its peak,
well, actually,
I mean,
honestly, yeah.
you got to think about like they know what Starfield needs to be. So I think they're going to be trying their best to make sure it comes out as good as it can.
I think that's honestly the best answer to that. But I can understand concerns.
I get being concerned, but I'm just saying that I think, while I could be wrong, I think
Mhm.
that they know the risks and they want to minimize the risks with Starfield as much as possible in terms of they want to release this product when it is ready.
Yeah. So that's kind of like my response to it too, because it's like I can't just say with absolute certainty like, oh, it's definitely gonna be 6 frames, but I can at least say it's gonna be finished. Without there might be DLC later on, but other than that, you know, it will most certainly be a game. It'll be a game of the year. It's certainly a game.
It's still gonna be good. It'll probably be good, hopefully.
Mm. We don't really know too much about the game. A lot of story aspects have been tucked away. We've seen gameplay. I'm pretty sure the gameplay can get further elaborated too, but it'll be something to see.
Truly.
When is Starfield coming out, by the way? It was like either October or December.
I think it's somewhere in the holiday time.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's finally time. We've been almost at it for like 50 minutes so far. Have not touched this, but it's time. Let's talk about Tears of the Kingdom. Let's talk about Final Fantasy. Both of them premiered like on the same day. Literally announced like the day prior. It was like, that was crazy. So we got a special little trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, right? Aside from Aonuma's like 10-minute like gameplay showcase, which I thought was gonna be it, and I'd be satisfied with that. But then they rolled out like the cool cinematic like trailer, similar to the one from like Breath of the Wild, like all those years back. And
people need to be bonked.
Oh my god. So first of all, it's a fantastic trailer. It's one of those things where it's like that music is not going to appear anywhere, and it'll just be a release like version of it in like a soundtrack or something like that. But yes, you're right. People need to calm down. So obviously there's whole thing about if you haven't seen it, there's Ganondorf. Ganondorf's there. There's also a mysterious mistress who, honestly, I saw this happen in like Twitter, where it's like, who is she and how do I know she has white toenails? And literally literally 2 minutes after that posting, the guy's like, I found it.
I found it. She does have white toenails.
I was like, yo, you need to calm down.
Not at all surprised.
And then someone saw the official artwork for Ganondorf, and they're like, all right, hear me out.
Hear me out.
And someone posts like, guys, the only thing we need to do with this guy is defeat him, nothing else. And someone said, I could change him.
I can fix him.
Oh, but that trailer is like super hype. It was just, they knew all the musical cues. It's like, I feel like it was way better than what Breath of the Wild's trailer was trying to do. But with it, we got a lot of story stuff like revealed to us without really elaborating on a lot, which is pretty interesting that they could even do that. A little bit of gameplay here and there. Obviously some things we haven't seen in like before in the game, which was like possible dungeons, that one three-headed monster from the old NES game, a look at like the champions, or the current day and age champions, where possibly Zelda's now at, and then just a bunch of slew of other mechanics and places that Link can like now utilize. But that music is crazy. They brought a sax. I was not expecting the saxophone to like make an appearance at all, because I felt like with Breath of the Wild they wanted to like calm down on the instruments like big time, because it's a whole new like world for Link, one that hasn't really been touched by like a lot of like day and age like agriculture from other folks. A lot of people just like congregated to like different areas like on the map, but most of the like places between that and like Hyrule Castle is just like open like wilds, hence the name, and hence the lack of like music there too. But whatever music is there is typically it's just very soft piano bits followed by usual strings and flutes. But Tears of the Kingdom is just sax. I was like, whoa.
Sax.
So I mean, I'm curious as to how they're gonna address like music in the game, because I think it's going to still have a little bit of muted stuff going on, like as you explore, whether it be like on the ground or in the Skylands. So I don't know. I'm just really interested in the fuse mechanic stuff, because obviously I want to attach my pitchfork with a longer poking stick.
I want to attach my pitchfork to my bow and arrow.
Whoa.
Ammo.
Oh, speaking of which, in that trailer, you actually fused, I think probably a claymore with a shield. And I was
Bruh,
like, I was like,
explosive
what?
shield. Every
Which
time enemy hits it just goes off.
I guess that makes sense because you can't really guard otherwise, so you might as well fuse it to do the parry. That's so weird.
That's how your parry does damage.
Yeah, essentially. Or just simply you can parry. Because otherwise you have to do backflip and everything like that. So interesting stuff. I'm looking forward to the game. They really just hyped it up for May, so I'm in. And poor Knight, he hasn't got to see the trailer. He's trying to go in blind like completely. So I think it'll work out in his favor. But he hasn't really been streaming lately, so hopefully he's able to catch up with Breath of the Wild completion beforehand. Um Final Fantasy 16. I'll keep it very simple and sweet. It's phenomenal.
It looks fantastic.
I'm like, whoa, you can
It
do
took the best.
this?
It took the best parts of 15's combat and 7's combat and just said, "All right, there you go."
It is, yeah, what was it? It's being advertised as like the true, like full action RPG that like Square was trying to like aim for. I think 7 Remake got really close with that. There is some aspects of like turn based in there that you can totally like not do, but other than that, there is some elements there.
I mean, you
But
fight you the way that Clive fights is very much like a combination of how you fight in remake and how Noctis fights in 15.
and they definitely get a lot of like Devil May Cry inspired like combat too, as far as just I guess maybe the physics of it feels like a
It
bit
just
like
looks good.
yeah. Yeah, my favorite thing was the fact that like in your combos you do like magic like real quick in between. I'm like, what the? This is
You also do Virgil's Judgment Cut and a Kamehameha Wave.
you do a lot of cool stuff with the icons. That's so sick. Like there are a bunch of
The icon
icons.
stuff is wild.
Like there's the actual icon fights, but like utilizing like their stuff in your like base combat is the coolest thing I've seen. Like
The icon fights are cinematic as shit.
those centerpieces, dude. Like that the Titan Lost one blows my
Woo!
mind.
I saw that too. I was like, shit.
The way they transition towards like actual like control while like you
Yeah,
just I was like whoa.
you're actually moving and everything. I was like, oh, this isn't just a cutscene. I'm actually doing this.
But yeah, no. There's a lot to like unpack there. I ultimately like to make a lot of comparisons with 15 because it just seems like well, I mean they're like numerically they're close to each other. But obviously like there's some things like tied in from
The
like 7
world,
remake.
the world itself is more close to 14.
Hmm.
Like in terms of like just the overall
Scale
theme,
or theme?
like the theme and scale of the world just seems more like 14.
Hmm. I was gonna say, Mark, you've played through 15 before. How do you feel about, I guess, the open worldness of that one versus what we're potentially seeing?
It could have been better, but it wasn't bad by any means, in my opinion.
I agree. I think it was one of those things where there's a lot of open space that you don't have to even like engage with. You just take your car and go to the next destination if possible, but otherwise, you can just walk it. But there's not a lot as a result. Maybe here and there might be something interesting, but otherwise, going through the main game, you won't really have to worry about that at all.
Yeah.
And I think with 16, it's going to be like a hybrid approach. I don't think, yeah, it's not going to be like a fully open world, but I think there will be open zones, I believe, in the midst
Yeah,
of things.
it's not. They said before it's not going to be a full open world experience, but it's going to be in like fragments,
Partially linear for that.
like it's segments, kind of like that. But
Yeah.
you can explore and do stuff.
What's interesting is that Clive actually has a whole bunch of different time skips, hence my thoughts about
Yeah,
15, where it's like
yeah, because
starts
you
at his
have him in
20s.
his 20s, 30s, and he'll go back to his teens.
Oh, yeah. So this boy's moving around a lot. It's gonna be interesting to see how like all the story bits kind of like fold into to each other, because they were talking about a flashback. So you're probably
Flashback, I think, is to his teens.
yeah, most likely, yeah. Otherwise, it might start off like yeah, it starts off in his 20s, and you'll probably have a flashback which tells you like how he got this, how he got that, and then of course it'll finish off in his 30s.
Which in 15 they did something similar with Noctis.
Yeah, with Noctis, like yeah, I guess like when we talk about the storytelling in 15's world, it was definitely weird because they split a lot of the stuff in context into different mediums. Whether it be the movie, like possibly there could have been a manga, I don't know. But they had a short limited anime on it too.
All I know is everyone said Noctis with the beard drip.
I think he can make it like he makes it work, especially like in the afterlife scene. But I think he was pretty rugged at that point.
Rugged Noctis was pretty badass.
It was pretty cool.
Especially when you get the royal garbs at the end.
Yeah, it works. I think there was a lot of potential in 15, and I think if they found a way to like kind of interwove a lot of that stuff into the base game, I think it'd make it a much more full experience. But it definitely was more scoped towards like the bros journey.
The boys
With the boys. That was a stellar cast of characters there, and I'm really curious because in 16 Clive is kind of on his own except for obviously the dog. But as far as like human interaction, I'm really curious as to how like.
I mean, you've got human companions.
Yeah, but they, from what I understand, they kind of come and go. You might see them again, but otherwise, it's just you. Kind of similar to Noctis, like before like Royal's like expansion, where you can control the other characters. But yeah, they're kind of focusing on Clive on that one. What I mean, that makes sense. So you could just like really flesh out that like combat for Clive. They got this crazy tree and everything. They got a training room.
Bruh. They really got a ton of stuff in 16.
Yeah, this is their most ambitious yet, and they're really trying to like make the profit out of it for it. So I mean, I guess yeah, that's Sony like really banking in on that. Like, hey, use our console for this next gen experience. Use our console specifically.
Ours, only ours.
Only ours.
At least on PC later.
they whisper in there. It's like, yeah, PC could happen later. And they're like, and you know, at first, I mean, I still kind of hold that same sentiment where it's like, it sucks that like Xbox doesn't have this access, right? It's the same thing with like 7 Remake. But when we take it in the perspective of like it's Sony like providing like everything, like their console and everything, just to try to optimize, make the best like Final Fantasy experience on that console. It kind of makes sense because 7 Remake went through the same thing, because that game looks stellar and it runs on a base PS4. And it's like, that's crazy. And it's like, well, it's because of the architecture. They have everything that they're working with. So
although Series X could probably run 16 better than the PS5.
Probably, right?
Like they're close, but it's been shown the Series X has a bit of performance and a bit more performance than the PS5 does.
Yeah, but I think it might have been one of those things where they couldn't really, unfortunately, negotiate that. Because that would have been really cool too, but yeah, it's weird with Square and Sony, because obviously Square's been like down before, but
and Sony's like, "Hey, we'll help you out as long as you just keep stay on our console. Stay on our console."
Yeah, I mean, like if they're waving the money at them, it's like I can't even fault them for that.
I know, it's like, please, we need the money, please.
we like, I mean, it's probably gonna be like very successful for it too. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. It's all about the he said, she said.
He said, she said.
But yeah, that game's gonna look phenomenal. That's coming out in June. So May and June is absolutely packed. But there is a game that's coming out this month for April, and that is Jedi Survivor.
Which we have talked about a little bit.
We talked about it a little bit. It's gonna be it's another one that's of the current generation, and not just trying to go back. So
And it looks good.
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking forward to it. Honestly, I want to see like more like of Cal's like skills now.
Oh yeah, like from what I've heard, you keep all your abilities from the first game, and like you just unlock new ones.
That's sick. Keep it like that. And I'm intrigued with the story too, because obviously like Cal he previously had his team, but he's disbanded since then. And they were talking about how his character's changed because of all that isolation. He's less trusting of a lot of people, rightfully so, because there's this crazy like bounty hunter after him. So
Well, I mean, you'd think that thanks to spending time with the group, that he'd be a little more trusting, at least of certain people.
I guess so, but like if you don't really know anybody, you're just trying to like tuck away, because obviously he's not making it a mission to go find other like Jedi. He literally cut all ties of finding that like by destroying that one thing.
It's because he knew the cost that would come at. They would never stop hunting them down.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to save those children the pain.
That's true. So now it's just like, what can he do now, or at least what's the plan? And honestly, for him, it's just kind of just surviving.
Just survival.
My God, can't believe I made that joke. But yeah, that's all he can really do right now. So it is what it is. But I'm really curious as to, just like, I guess I haven't really been paying attention to a lot of gameplay stuff, but I just kind of want to see how everything looks, just in real time.
Great.
I just want to because you can kind of get the same type of shots in Fallen Order, where you're just kind of looking at the environment. It may not be like super super alive, where like you see constant wildlife or anything like that, but it does feel like a pretty lived in like universe, because everything's like just large in scale. It's just that you have limited places to like really like look around, but this is nice.
That's it's like a really nice looking world.
And they did incorporate a lot of Souls-like mechanics into the game, so I'm wondering how nice is that going to feel in this one? Is it going to be a little bit more challenging, or is it going to be a little bit more flexible as far as like combat? Because it can be a little stiff here and there. Like, there's a certain way you want to go about addressing certain enemies, and that might be the same case too. And also the environment involved, depending.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just curious about that too. You got mounts. You have some writing segments.
I mean, the game's install size is bigger than Red Dead 2.
Can we talk about 155 gigs? Like,
Yeah,
what the?
Red Dead Redemption.
Oh my God, dude.
That's wild.
I think that's what got me like a little bit more interested. I was like, well, obviously I do like Fallen Order. We'll just see how this plays out. And then I heard the news about 155 gigs. I was like, okay, I need to see this. This single-handedly got my attention. It's like, this is a huge game, and I think EA is still like pulling a lot of stuff out. Like, what was it? Are they the ones behind the potential like new first-person shooter game that's all magic?
I've heard about that. I just saw that not too long ago.
And I was like, that's me. They're calling to me.
Like, FPS magic? You're like, finally, an FPS I'll play.
I was like, damn, why does it look so clean?
It looks so good.
I'm like, all right, I'll bite.
You're like, I'll try it.
I might like it. I'll just come back to y'all like, hey, listen, this is the greatest game ever made.
Best shooter ever.
It just needs like, it needs McGordon. Yeah. Oh boy. So a lot of good games. Jedi Survivor, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Final Fantasy 16. Um, I'm over here. I get to talk about this real quick. I just picked up what calls it, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. First of all, the cover art is great. I think that's not really a surprise. Like we know about the cover art, so it looks really nice. Um, what calls it? I'll tell you right now, the reversible like side here is there's not really anything. But at the very least, all the games are all in one like cartridge, so that's a huge dub. Because otherwise, if you look into the history of the Switch as far as legacy collections for Mega Man, both the original series, the X series, they have one cartridge for like the Volume 1, and then they have a digital code instead for their Volume 2. So it's kind of incomplete in that sense. So you either have to get like the Xbox or PlayStation version just to see if you can get that all in one type of thing. I might go back and figure that out. But yeah, no, a lot of people have been like really hyping it up because honestly it's probably like, I'm not sure if I would say niche, but it's definitely a popular series as well. I guess maybe because it has so many entries in it. I mean, obviously there's Mega Man Zero and ZX and whatnot, and that rounds up to like 6 games as well, which is probably why it fits in one cartridge. But it's I guess how to put that. It's definitely a different take on Mega Man in general. It's not your platform shooter like I guess Zero was. It's definitely a turn-based kind of strategy RPG. I think RPG could be like sprinkled in just lightly on this one. It's definitely more of like a turn-based strategy game for sure. So I'm looking forward to just kind of like dipping my toes into that one as best I can. Whatchamacalls it? I did try to make some time earlier today. I finished this game called Kogan Soda Rewind. To kind of give you some context about it, it's paired up with the release of what was it? Gunvolt Chronicles, the X2. I'm not gonna say the full name. It's absolutely it's just too much of a long like title. But Kogan doesn't have anything remotely to really do with the series, but it's just like they have some collaborations DLC wise. But otherwise, as far as the combat, it is very similar to Mega Man Zero. As far as like you doing a lot of close quarters combat, there's a lot of platforming involved. The thing is that in the game, you get hit once, that's a death count on you. But you have this ability to go back in time, like a la 3 seconds, and do the same action again. But you have to like continue charging that like rewind time, so you can't do it like constantly. So that ended up being much more of a challenge than I thought, more so than X2 for sure. X2 was like freebie stuff where like you literally can heal indefinitely. In this game, you just have a death counter on you, and if you die and you don't have enough rewind time filled up, then you literally go back to a previous checkpoint. So it's still a death count, but it's also a hindrance to you on that front too. But it's very challenging. The game has like only 5 stages, but they go through a whole like rewind mechanic where you just start up in a legitimate hard mode, and there's different dialogues, a bit of story, and then it ends up with a final boss that is definitely rewarding. Playing through the stages is really rewarding when you kind of understand the nuances of just the stage and the bosses. But all in all, real quick, Kogan is actually a really cool platformer, challenging too. So I definitely recommend it, especially if you're into Mega Man Zero stuff.
Nice.
And as far as other things, I'm still going through Kingdom Hearts 1. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's still an effort to go through. I'm in, I think I'm technically in the second world, midway through the Wonderland place. We just had the trial. The girl has disappeared, and we gotta go find her, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. That combat's aged like milk. It's pretty stiff.
Aged like milk.
It aged like milk. It's like it's rough. But I mean, it is what it is. I would still prefer to play like 64 Zelda over it, but you know. It is what it is. But I think that's that. I think that's pretty much it for all I had on topics. Yeah, essentially, just 100% looking forward to the new games coming out this past week. Oh, I'm not sure if it happened this past week about like God of War Ragnarok getting its new game plus features added in. There's some really cool. Yeah, there's some cool stuff added to that one. As far as what calls it, getting like some cool like physical aesthetic costumes that you thought you never would be able to have access to. There's also the ability to, I guess, change your partners too, so you can also have Thor for quite a bit. And I was like, that's awesome, nice. But that's pretty much it on that front. I still look at like Ragnarok. I'm like, that was one hell of a game, dude. That was crazy. Like there's so much like story like weaved into all of this, and all complements like the gameplay like stuff very well. But now we have Zelda, we have 16. I'm looking forward to how 16 is going to be kind of like that, where like there's story, but well, actually no, that may not interwoven with combat, but there's definitely going to be a story there. There's a lot of lore in 16 to build up, but at least it's all in the game.
And 16 is going to have a lot to go on.
Mm-hmm. But it's also going to have like this super fleshed out like combat system. And yeah, and then the last thing I was really talking about was Redfall, so certainly things to discuss later on. But Mark,
it's everything.
Yeah, alrighty. Mark, any last things you want to add in before we call?
No, I think we touched everything. I think we literally have just touched upon about everything we could.
Okay. Alrighty, guys. In that case, we'll go ahead and end it here. So, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of DangIT Prodcast. It's been episode 455. My name is Justin.
Mark.
And thanks for watching, everybody. #bye, everybody.